Welcome in to Viking News on Demand. We are sitting down with Coach Ronald Abernathy for his show this week, Inside Humboldt Basketball, with head coach Ronald Abernathy. And, Coach, it's kind of been ups and downs a little bit with wins and losses, but lots of lessons learned. And as you say a lot, we expect to play these high-caliber teams and then see where we match up.
Right. Exactly. As far as we're concerned, our coaching staff and our team, we've done a good job. We are actually 7-3. And it's a little better than we thought we would be with the kind of teams that we have played.
Well, we have let's talk about the Dyersburg game. It was a close game. I'm looking here. They were matched up well with us, except the first quarter. We had a good first half lead. We outscored them 19-7, looks like, in the first quarter, and then they held with us in the second. But leading at the half, 39-28, still a pretty good lead. And your team was able to hold on and win 60-57. Anything major to stand out about that game at Dyersburg?
Well, a quality game, a quality team, a well-coached team. Yeah. And I think the biggest advantage is that monster that they had in the middle that was 6'8", 295. He was a great player. And we just happened to, double down on him and defensively cause him some turnovers, and he was great.
Kendrick Taylor seems to be really coming to his own here at a good point in the season. I know in that game he had 18 points. What do you think plays into that? What's caused Kendrick all of a sudden to kind of catch fire?
Well, hopefully he's getting better.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with Kendrick is making those open shots.
Yeah.
He gets, and when we look at our stats, he gets more shots than anybody on our team. And for him, it's just making more of those shots that he's taking because he gets them.
Yeah.
He gets them.
And it's just is it just taking more shots in practice that helps that, or what is that as a coach?
Yes, taking more shots in practice and rhythm and rhythm. There are certain, to our eye, there are certain shots that we want him to take, and there are certain shots that we don't want him to take.
Yeah.
When he's moving and flying, we don't want him to take those shots.
Yeah.
We want him to take those shots off of our offense when we swing it, our turn it, our drive and penetrate and kick. Those are the shots that we want him to take that he has a better chance of making.
Definitely. Well, let's go to the Peabody game, kind of the elephant in the room where, it's one of those rivalry games.
Yeah.
We've played them a lot. I think you said in your 11 tenure, we was talking about off-air 11-year tenure here, you've played them 30 times.
30 times.
Why don't you share that record? Because it's a pretty good record Humboldt has had.
It is, to the fan who we lost the game. I've noticed some comments that were made, but when you think about the gist of things, we've played in my 11 years here. I had somebody to go back and do the stats and pull them up for us. In the 11 years that I've been here, we've played Trenton Peabody 30 times. And we've beaten them 22. They've beaten us 8 times. And in that record, twice, I want to think 2017 and 2018, we actually played them 4 times in the year and beat them all 4 times. Yeah. And then on the second 2 occasions, we played them 4 times and we beat them 3 times in that year.
Oh, wow.
And both times we lost prior to. I remember one we lost in the district championship, but we beat them in the regional. The other time we lost to them when we beat them 3 times. One was the same way. We lost to them in the region, in the district, but we beat them in the regional championship.
Gotcha.
So we've had a lot of success against Trenton Peabody.
Obviously, a night they can celebrate. They played well. They really shot lights out.
They did. They did an excellent job. They threw them up. They went in.
Yeah.
And, of course, again, hats off to them. And I think, for us, our goal and objective is to just play tough teams and good teams like that to prepare us for the later in the year. And then our goal was accomplished. Yes, we wanted to win the game, but we didn't. But now it's time to move on.
Sure. Well, how's a coach, you obviously want to take anything away from a game like that so that you can be better. What do you pull from that game at Trenton and say, we've got to do this better to beat a team like that?
Well, I thought mentally, we had a different mindset than they would have,
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you got that Humboldt across your chest, people want to beat us.
Oh, yeah.
So whereas we look at it as another game that we want to win, the next team looks at it as an accolade and the way time to celebrate. But as far as we're concerned, like I said, it's one game. We lost it. We move on. Okay. I think it was more. And then we missed a lot of close shots. We missed a lot of layups. I don't think that our defense, physically and emotionally, we didn't play as good a job defensively as we normally do.
Did it seem like we were? Because I didn't really necessarily feel like the refs were just totally unfair. I felt like it was called, but we did have a lot of fouls called.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
Let's look here. There's no excuses for why we lost.
Sure.
But again, I think that the officiating was very, very questionable.
Okay.
And then when there was, because at one time, I want to believe that we were called for 16 fouls and they only were called for 2.
Yeah.
And if anybody watched the game, you saw a lot. It was a big difference.
Yeah, and I know you pointed numbers of fouls. Did you feel like the players were putting themselves into questionable positions to get those foul calls, or do you feel like, we were playing our game?
Well, I thought they were I thought they were very aggressive with us. And I thought the officials did not call a lot of fouls where they hit us on the arm and grabbed and so forth. But again, like I said, we don't look at that as a cause to win or lose a game. It's just something that happens that we have to deal with and that we have to adjust to.
Yeah. Yeah, and is that a talking point with those players, I guess, after that game?
Oh, yeah.
You got to adjust?
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, we have to. That's a talking point.
I think about the girls' game, and I know you're not the girls' coach, but I look at that. Kendall McLemore picked up 4 fouls in the first half.
I saw
she had 16 points, and I'm like, well, you can't sit her. She's got to play. Yeah. She did a great job in that second half adjusting. She was able to play the rest of that game out.
That was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. I actually told her that was phenomenal, the restraint and the discipline that she was able to do to continue that game like that with 4 fouls.
So do you take something like that and use that as a teaching point with the boys?
Well, you do. But you know what? I still go back to the fact that in my experience, every single night, every single game is different.
Yes, sir.
What happens one night doesn't happen another night. What works one night doesn't work another night. So every single game is different, and that's how you prepare for that. And you just have to make the adjustments in order to be successful.
It seems like Darian was having a good night, shooting-wise, especially there at the end in the second half. He was kind of shut down in the first half. It was held to like 2 points in the first half, but he ended up with 14 on the night. Right. Was it something they were doing, defensively, or just took him a little bit to get into his game?
No, I don't think so. He just had an unusually not so good night. Yeah. Which is going to again happen. That's why you have to look at things realistically. And there are going to be some nights because he's been playing very, very well.
Yes, he has. And I would say this too. If fans sometimes fans get focused on overall scores and that kind of thing. Coach, last year I know Darian was putting up 30 and 40 points, but he didn't have the surrounding cast
that
he has here.
And the situation that our program is in compared to where he came from. Every night we're playing again, that goes to show you the difference. Yeah. Every night we're playing somebody that can potentially beat us. Yeah. So every night we have to be up, we have to be ready, we have to play. At West Carroll, he did score sometimes 40 a night, but his team lost by 40. For example, when we played them, he scored 30, but then we beat him by 30. So, that's the big difference. He's in a different atmosphere now. He's on a different level. And we talk about that with him because he realizes it. Yeah. Okay, he realizes that he goes from, pretty much getting beat every night, even though he scored a lot of points, to now playing for your life every night and playing for your respect.
And you could see that come back when we start coming back to playing, our classification again.
Right. Oh, yes.
So what is the difference? Okay, I know, like when you play football and you play a bigger team, they're going to have more people on the sideline. Right. That's not necessarily the case in basketball. Mm-hmm. So when you go to play a 3A team, what is it that is tougher about a 3A team versus a 1A?
Usually talent.
Okay.
And numbers.
Okay.
Usually talent and numbers, whereas, we have a few talented players. When you play the bigger schools, they have more talented players and usually bigger. Whereas we have a 10, 11, 12-man roster, those going to have 15, 16 rosters. They're going to have more athletes to choose from. more athletes that play. So usually it's the numbers of the players and the athletes that they have and skilled players that they have.
Now, I came in a few minutes early today, saw players walking through the halls. They were fist bumping as they walked through. You know, it seemed like morale's still good, but you're here all the time.
Right.
What is the morale in practice, even after a loss like that?
Well, you probably would need to ask them what it was like. What it was like on Tuesday. It wasn't a good day for them. But
I understand.
But in all due respect, they survived it.
Yes.
And then when it was all said and done, one of the players said, "Great practice. It's on us, coach. It's our fault. We take responsibility," and that's what you look for.
Yeah, that's what you need. I mean,
yes.
You lose that game. Now, you don't play Trenton again this year, do you?
No, we do not.
Yeah, I thought it was just a one game.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get them to return the game to us next year.
Yeah. Looks like you shot 63% from free throw line, which is pretty good. I mean, that's you
decent. Decent. We want that to be 75 or 80.
Okay.
63 is decent, but we want that to be 75 or 80%.
Sure.
The free throw line.
Sure. And one thing I have to say before we move on from this Trenton game, because I know y'all are already on Friday's game here. We're recording this. This will not air till December 23rd. Just with the Christmas holiday and Christmas break and all, we wanted to go ahead and record this early. You've got a Friday game. But before we move on from the Trenton game, we got beat pretty good against Jackson County. Okay, let's just compare the losses here, the last couple. But I felt like the heart and the effort was still there on this team, even though we were getting beat. It looked like two different teams still.
The team that we saw on Monday night was some team that we hadn't seen this year, because you mentioned Jackson County, our loss. We actually lost by 11.
Yes.
But we played, and and even the second unit came in and played well.
Yeah.
You look at our game against MUS, the AA school out of Memphis. The only difference there was they just had a couple of bigger guys, but we competed.
Sure.
And of course, we beat Memphis Hamilton. So the team that we saw Monday night was a team that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's good to get that over with.
Yes, it is. It is.
We're going to come back and we're going to preview. You're playing a team out of Alabama coming up on Friday. We'll talk about how all that came about. And it's going to happen in kind of a neutral court. It'll be in Dyersburg. And then you've got a Christmas tournament. We want to talk both of those things coming up next. This is Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy. We'll be right back. Welcome back in. Sitting alongside Coach Ronald Abernathy, head coach of the Humboldt Vikings. Been here 11 years, and quite an 11 years it has been. And it's been a great, great run, and we are continuing to race after the gold ball, and this team is a talented team. It's a fun team to watch, and they've responded after a loss before, and we expect that again. Now, Red Bay, Alabama. Never heard of it.
Neither have I.
So how did the game come about? Let's talk about that.
It's a classic game.
Okay.
There'll be other games before ours, and it's pitting teams from Tennessee with teams outside.
Okay.
And we just happen to draw Red Bay, Alabama.
Red Bay, Alabama.
Yes,
so, obviously, you've been doing your homework. What do you see out of Red Bay?
Again, a good team.
Okay.
Going to be a good team. Have a young kid that's part of 6'5", 6'6". That seems to be their best player. So, it's going to be another good game. But hopefully for us, we're not looking at how good they are. We're looking at what we do and how we perform, bouncing back from a loss at Peabody.
We did it from Jackson County to Memphis Hamilton, and hopefully we can do that from Trenton to Red Bay, Alabama. Now, that game is, like I say, in a neutral court, but your fans travel. I mean, I was very happy. Trenton the other night, your whole side was full.
Oh, yes, it was.
And it was Viking fans. My daughter was taking pictures, and she would walk over there and take pictures. She'd come back over here, and she's like, I think I'm going to go stay over there. I said, you're okay.
Yeah,
I had to set up.
Great fans, and I enjoy our fans. For the most part,
sure,
our fans have been great. We a lot of positiveness, and of course, you got a few folks who I would say don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
who don't know the game, who are negative, but you know what? That comes with the territory.
It does.
But pretty much, our fans are supportive. Our fans are good. I enjoy our fan base. And I do think that we do travel very well, and I really appreciate that. And my coaches and my team appreciate the fact that we do travel well.
So now you will play Friday night, this December 20th, which, again, this airs on the 23rd. So we'll recap that after Christmas. The week after Christmas, we'll come back and we'll talk to Coach about how that game went. But you also are playing in Martin Westview's Christmas Classic. Now, this has become kind of a standard for us.
Right.
I know at least last year and maybe the year before that.
No, I remember the year before last, we went to the Hub City.
Oh, you
Classic.
were in Jackson.
Yeah, we were in Jackson.
Omens, yeah.
That didn't work out so well. I don't know if you probably remember, we got to the semifinal and were supposed to play Northside, and then we got a forfeit because Northside's administration didn't want them to play us.
Yes, I remember that.
We moved on, and then, of course, we had been in Martin, who was a classic before, and was successful, so we decided to go back.
Now, you said you're playing 3 games, so we'll play on, let me pull that up here, December 27th.
27th.
28th, and the 30th. And so let's talk through those games. I think you said you got Obion.
We have Obion on the 27th.
Okay. That's another big school.
Yes.
It's a county school, and they've been known to have some pretty good teams through the years.
Oh, yeah, they have. We beat them in the Jamboree.
Yes.
But they were always a great coach, good team, big good competition for us.
All right. And then you will play on the 28th?
28th, we'll play Dyer County.
Dyer County.
Yeah, which is always good. Now, you talk about a bigger school with a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
Dyer County traditionally has had a lot of good athletes and been a big school.
And then on the 30th, on Monday,
we will play Westview.
Westview.
Will be the feature game.
All right.
Yes.
Now, will that be a 7 o'clock game, you think?
That will be 7 o'clock.
That Monday night.
Yes.
Excellent. Probably won't stream that game, but we'll provide some updates from there. And that's a gym that if you don't get on their internet, your cell phone is no good for hotspots. So we've learned that. But we were able to get through Trenton. I had somebody earlier here in the hallway. They were talking to me, and they said, the quality of your broadcast has went up. They're saying the picture has gotten better, and we have done some tweaking of that. We're using equipment from 2017, so we're starting to talk what we got to do there to bring it up to par. But appreciate those that are watching and sharing. We are hitting record numbers of viewers, Coach. It's amazing to see the program continuing to take off. Your fan base that gets to travel, and then those that are staying home, it continues to grow. Martin Westview's not that far. You should have quite a few Humboldt fans there, and it's a Christmas Classic. Is there something special about playing in like a Christmas Classic that you talk to the team about, or?
No, not really. It's competition. Usually here in this case 2 days back to back, and we get a day's rest, and we play on Monday. Yeah. Just the fact that you want to play, you want to be competitive, is what we look for.
And then you go into January playing at Haywood, and then I think it doesn't take long before you get into really, really games that are going to start mattering pretty fast.
Right, district game.
Yeah.
I believe with pre-district we're Haywood. I believe we have Covington again.
Yes. Yeah, we get to host Covington.
We get to host Covington.
And
Haywood, and then we go to Dyersburg, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's going to look good.
Yes.
Wow. So as you start heading into this final stretch here, health-wise, looks like everybody's doing really well.
It is.
How do you feel the team is coming together? Obviously, you don't want to peak at the wrong time, but how do you feel like where we are compared to previous years?
We right on schedule, right on pace. Maybe a little further, because like I said, we knew we had a tough schedule.
Yes,
and we knew it was going to be tough. We sit here at 7-3.
Yeah.
I had hoped to be 5. To be even pretty much, but we're a little bit ahead of the game.
Yeah.
With the kind of competition that we're playing.
And does that have to do with? I know, like Darian, it's his first year in your program, but does that have to do with familiarity? What do you think has played into that this year?
Yeah, familiarity and each game, again, when we set that schedule, the goal is that each game we want to get better.
Sure.
Okay, and of course there are going to be some setbacks, which there are, but you overcome them.
Yes.
Okay, and then you adjust, you learn from them, and then you move on.
Sure.
In the course of preseason, those things that happen. It could happen again.
Yeah.
Okay, but you learn from those, and then you move on.
Definitely so, and looking hopefully to be able to host instead of going to somewhere for a sub-state game. And,
right. Whoa, that's the goal.
Yeah.
This time is to host that sub-state game here.
It's hard to put a value on that.
Oh, well, we've been very successful. In my 11 years, every time we played a sub-state game here, we've won it.
Yeah.
And it's been that's the goal.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, we will come back after Christmas, and we'll talk about Christmas Classic. We'll talk about your game this past Friday night and that kind of thing. So look forward to being able to talk about some wins and maybe some things that we were able to pull from that tournament that you think will carry with us for the rest of the season.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. Appreciate you watching Inside Humboldt Basketball each week here on Viking News on Demand with head coach Ronald Abernathy. Until then, God bless.